All right, guys, Dane here, Clarkey's NRL show, episode 4, joined by Manly Seagulls back row Curtis Sironen, who was on an absolute tear yesterday. Curtis, how are you going today?
Not too bad, mate. Bit sore and sorry after yesterday, but yeah, not too bad, mate. Just a bit disappointed about how we got beat.
Oh, it was a tough game, but look, certainly no fault by your effort. You were incredible out there. Now, I wanted to ask Curtis, because you are on a tear yourself, and as a team, Manly, they have surprised a lot of people this year. So I wanted to ask, how are you enjoying your footy, and what does this current Manly squad mean to you? Because looking from the outside in, it certainly looks like you're a close-knit group.
Yeah, mate. I think the biggest thing that we've the biggest thing that's sort of formed this year is a bit of the culture. Desi's come in as a new coach, and it's probably the most important thing for him, sort of just building that hard-edged sort of culture. So we had a really hard pre-season. Everyone worked hard for each other, and we're all really good mates. So yeah, it was a tough start of the year without Turbo, and we didn't have Ches there for a bit, but that sort of resilience got us a few wins, and yeah, we're still in and about the top 8 at the moment.
I think resilience is probably the best word to sum up your guys' season. I wrote an article on it at one stage, Curtis, and I think it was 15 of your top 30 had been injured at one point or another throughout the season. I wanted to ask, what's some of the key differences? Obviously, you touched on culture there. Is there any other sort of major ones on the difference between the way Des Hasler coaches as opposed to Trent Barrett?
There is lots of differences. I think every coach they have their differences. It's hard to sort of pinpoint, but I think the biggest thing that Desi saw when he came was last year how many tries we let in. Like, obviously, the players we have, we can score heaps of tries. We've got, Turbo and Ches there, sort of, they're creating points, but we just couldn't keep sides out. So that was the biggest thing, working on our defence. And yeah, there was a couple games there where earlier in the season where we didn't score many points, but our defence got us over the line. So that's probably been the biggest difference, the emphasis on our D.
Absolutely. And again, looking from the outside in, I can definitely see that defense has been an immense focus, and it has improved drastically. Curtis, a lot of people are labeling this Manly side as a dark horse. They think you could potentially go all the way with this reinvigorated culture you guys have set. I wanted to ask you, is there that sort of belief within the playing group also? Do you guys think that the premiership is yours come September?
Oh, mate, that's pretty hard to say that at this stage, that it's ours. So, I definitely think that we're a competitive side. We still got to play a few sides. We still got to play, teams like Parramatta and Melbourne, which are going to be good tests. So,
yeah.
We do have the confidence that we can go with any team. And I think even yesterday, we were a bit flat and we're down by a bit at half time, but we showed that we can still fight back. So in past years, we might have rolled over and got a score put on us, but we're a different team this year. But it's hard to say this early, mate. We just got to keep building week to week, take it every week at a time. But there is a confidence in the squad that, we deserve to be in the finals. And so why it's disappointing that we got beat yesterday by a point. We're sort of just a couple of wins out of the top 4, and I think you sort of got to be in that top 4 to be a real chance.
Yeah, definitely. It was a heartbreaking loss, obviously, by 1 point. But as you said, confidence is key. But also the fact you guys are taking it day by day is making you guys increasingly more dangerous as the weeks go on. I want to touch on yourself personally now, Curtis. So you are playing career best football. The rise in form from you this year has been absolutely incredible, and that's to put it lightly. What do you sort of put that down to? Is it the fact that you're finally injury-free? Is it the Des Hasler effect? Or I've read an article that you've put the alcohol away, you're not touching the drink this year. Is it a sort of a factor of all three of those things, or what do you put it down to? Because it's incredible, man.
Yeah, definitely a combination of a lot of things.
Yep.
I felt like I've always sort of had that ability, but injuries really weren't kind to me early in my career. And I just felt like I was playing catch-up. I was missing lots of games of the seasons, and it's just hard to build any confidence when, you play, maybe 10 games tops in a row and then you get injured again. So I think just getting a few games together, well, touch wood, but I've played every game this season, and my goal is to play every game, so I'm on my way to doing that. And yeah, mate, just a lot of things off field. I just had to tidy up, just doing extra recovery stuff. Being off the piss sort of sounds like a little thing, but it's just helped, It's just another thing that, going to every game knowing that I've sort of prepared. And yeah, just sort of maturing a bit, I think, just realising that what I have to do to sort of be a first grader every week. And yeah, it's working for me so far.
Absolutely. And I wanted to sort of ask, what was the decision making that went into giving up the drink? Obviously, we've seen it's had effects on the field, and you've just touched on some effects off field. But I wanted to ask, what went into sort of the decision making to make that call? Because, there's not much better than having a beer in the sheds with the boys after a win. And I wanted to ask also, has it been difficult giving it up?
It has been difficult at times. I love going and having a beer with my mates. I love celebrating a good win. I like going and celebrating things like my mates' birthdays and things like that. But it's just a sacrifice, I think, that I've made. So, yeah, touch wood. If we have a good run into the semis, hopefully I can enjoy a beer in the off season. But it's just something that, like I said, I'm going into every game knowing that I've sort of prepared as well as I can, and a lot of the week to week sort of preparation is sort of a lot of it's mental as well. Getting up for a game and when you're tired. So I don't know. It's just something that's worked for me. Everyone's different. There's guys out there who can have a beer and they're still the best players in the world, but it's just something, a little sort of 1% of that that I've tried and it's worked. So at times I'm sort of a superstitious person, so I'm sort of just rolling with it.
Yeah, it definitely has worked. I want to go back to yesterday just one more time if I could, Curtis. There was sort of a silver lining in the game, I suppose, for yourself, because you did get to verse your little brother Bailey. I wanted to ask, has he had any cheek, any text messages sent, and how far do you think he can go in his career?
No, not too much cheek. Bailey's a pretty humble sort of person.
Okay.
I was pretty, I'm really proud that we got to play each other yesterday. It was really good. It was a bittersweet moment for me, especially seeing him out there, and he's had sort of a different journey to me. He's played a lot of reserve grade, and he's biding his time, and he's working really hard, so he deserves everything that comes to him. And I think he's got a lot of potential. He just like, there's a lot of guys sort of that, 18, 19 sort of man in a squad. All they need is a bit of luck, and a bit of opportunity. And I think he's in a. Doesn't help how good of a side that South are. That he might not get week to week footy, but when he's there, I think he did his job yesterday, and I'm proud of him. Whatever happens.
Absolutely, he's making the most of this opportunity. Curtis, you told me before that you feel off the field you're maturing as a player. You've now brought up the 100-game milestone. Obviously, you're in the best form of your career, and you do lead by example on the field. I wanted to ask, is talking something that comes natural to you on the field, and would you be interested in progressing into sort of a leadership role as your career continues to progress?
Yeah, it sort of is. I'm a pretty vocal person. I think on the field, it's always been one of my sort of strong points. Even when I was a younger guy, I wasn't scared to sort of, talk and have a voice. Even if I wasn't maybe backing it up on the field, I'm a pretty vocal person. So, I think that my actions are starting to back them up now, which helps. And we've got a lot of good leaders at Manly, though. Daly's, Queensland captain, could be Australian captain, and guys like Jake, who they're just respected players who sort of look up to. Joel Thompson, who's a 200 gamer. So there are sort of a lot of leaders, and I'd like, I would like a role like that one day, but at the moment, I think I've just sort of started playing consistent footy, and just need to worry about myself first. But maybe down the line, I could see myself being more of a leader in a leadership role, but we'll wait and see.
From the outside looking in, Curtis, I definitely think you are ready-made for a leadership role as your career continues to progress. One more question from me today, if I could. I believe when you retire, Curtis, you will go down with 2 words next to your name: determination and perseverance. You have been through a lot of injuries, and they are a part of the game. But I wanted to ask you, For all the younger ones listening to this interview that may be going through a tough time, they may be injured, sitting on the sidelines, what message would Curtis Sironen have for these young fellas that could be doing it tough? Because we all know you've been through it and come out the other side.
Yeah, I have. What would I say? Well, probably the biggest thing is just to not make any excuses for yourself. I think when I was a bit younger and I'd have a few injuries, I just thought that everything was going to be all right, and just thought it was luck. Mm-hmm. That, it was just bad luck. But sometimes it can be, I don't know, a bit of hard work and sacrifice can sort of turn that luck, I think. So don't just die wondering. I reckon if you're in a hard spot, do something about it. Do a bit of extra, recovery, fix up your diet, or just become a bit more professional if footy's what you want to try and do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just persevere. Just give it everything you got, and all the little 1%ers are going to help, I think, in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely, Curtis. That is a great message. In case you hadn't heard me the first 10 times of this interview, mate, you are in some form. Career best. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on Clarkey's NRL show, Curtis. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Clarkey. Thanks for having me, mate, anytime.